What's up, y'all? It's me. It's your boy, Greg. We're going to cover a few more topics before we head into our first week of rating in Legion. There's a few things that we as officers wanted to let you guys know and just clarify so that everyone's on the same page coming in. The first topic that we're going to talk about is raid supplies. Raid supplies are going to be the responsibility of the individual raider. There's a couple reasons for this. The main one being, this being the start of the expansion, the price of the supplies and the materials to craft the supplies are incredibly expensive, and it's too much stress for your officer team to manage it by themselves. The other reason is the first week or two is going to be a purely trial period. We're going to be testing raiders out. There's going to be a lot of people getting cut from the team, so we're not going to supply those people with 1,000 gold flasks and all this stuff just to have them leave an hour or two later. So please do your part. Prove that you're a Mythic Raider and come to raid ready with flasks. You don't have to, but that's something that's going to reflect on you. The next part's going to be item level. We had a couple concerns with item level. People were concerned they couldn't get to the 840 requirement that we had previously set. And the reason for that is certain classes weigh certain stats at this point in time, unlike any other expansion, above their actual main stat. For example, for Fire Mages, crit is weighted higher than intellect is. And for Shadow Priests, it's the same thing. Haste is weighted much higher than intellect. So that being the case, a lot of the times your gear is going to be more optimal if it's a lower item level, but it's just a better piece of gear. Even that being said, though, you guys should have absolutely no problem getting 840. We are probably not going to let anyone in the raid who is under item level 840. If you're just really close and you can show us that you've had really bad loot luck but you've got all this other gear, then we'll talk about it and address it at the time, but go ahead and expect to be item level 840. Grind out a few last things this weekend, do what you need to do. It's not hard, guys. I haven't been playing much, and I'm 845 right now, and as a Fire Mage, and I'm statted for crit. Crit is on everything, and I haven't just been extremely lucky. It's just not that hard to do. Okay, guys, the third point that I want to get across to you is these boss guides. We did talk about them previously. I will link them below, but it's camelsrus.net/guilds, or /guides, sorry. But you come on here, these guides are super nice. You can scroll through them. I think my screen is actually locked up, so that's really unfortunate. But if my screen weren't locked up, you could click on this, you could click on this, you could click on any of these, and they would come up with a nice little summary for you. And they're going to tell the strategies that we're going to be basing everything off of. It's not necessarily the strategy we're going to use to kill the bosses, but it's going to be the part, or at least the basis for our strategies. There we go. So they pop up, you can see all the abilities, the mobs, and everything, and here's the important part, the strategy, and then it tells you TLDR for DPS, tanks, and healers. So make sure you guys go and check these out. There's no excuse if we feel that you do not know a boss fight during tryouts just because you haven't read the strategies or you haven't watched some of the videos, you'll be removed on the spot. Which brings me to my last point, guys. I just want to make sure that everyone's on the same page and you understand that just because you're coming to the first couple weeks of raiding with us, or even the first week, that you're not guaranteed a Mythic raid spot. It's going to be very critical that you guys bring the top of your game and you perform the best that you can. If we feel that we can't down a boss because your DPS is lacking, or you're not performing a mechanic correctly, or just in general, if you're miles under everyone else on DPS, then we're going to ask you to step out. Now, we'll go ahead and say that just because we ask someone to step out, that doesn't necessarily mean that they're not invited to come back. That'll be on a situation-by-situation basis. There may be an example where someone's just playing a really underpowered class and they have to step out, but at the same time they're pulling their sim numbers, they're doing their mechanics, we just can't do it without them. But those are going to be far and few in between. Most of the time, if we're asking somebody to step out, then you know that you're underperforming, and we'll give you a reason why. We won't just ask you to step out without an explanation. Alright, guys, that's pretty much everything. Just wanted to cover those last few points. If anybody else has any questions, feel free to reach out to your officers. We're here for you guys, and we want to help you, and we look forward to raiding with you all.